everyone, and welcome to today's session on managing a global business environment. My name is Angelica Christiani Susanto from Information System 25A. In today's interconnected world, no business can exist in isolation. Even small companies are touched by globalization, whether through raw materials, technology, or competition. Our goal today is to understand how businesses operate beyond national borders, what challenges they face, and how managers can successfully navigate this complex environment. Let's begin by looking at the first stage of globalization. The first stage is the domestic stage. At this point, a company's market potential is limited to its home country. Production and marketing facilities are located domestically, and the focus is mainly on local customers. The second stage is the international stage. Here, companies begin exporting products to other countries. They may adopt a multi-domestic approach, meaning they adjust their strategies to fit the needs of each market individually. The third stage is the multinational stage. At this level, marketing and production facilities are located in many countries. A clear indicator of this stage is when more than one-third of a company's sales come from outside its home country. Finally, the global or stateless stage. In this stage, companies truly operate without borders. They make sales and acquire resources in whichever country offers the best deal. Ownership, control, and top management are dispersed around the world. Think of companies like McDonald's or Mercedes-Benz, global icons with operation in dozens of countries. So, why do businesses need a global strategy? The answer is simple. Today's business world is becoming a bona fide global field. For many companies, domestic markets are already saturated. To survive and grow, they must look beyond borders. Expanding globally allows them to find new customers, diversify risk, and gain access to cheaper resources or labor. However, going global is not just about selling products overseas. It's about understanding different cultures and way of doing businesses. Let me share some principles of international business that managers must keep in mind. First, always show respect and listen. Don't rush. Second, appreciate differences between cultures, especially values the masculinity and femininity, or individualism and collectivism. Third, never assume your way is the best way. Fourth, emphasize points of agreement and avoid embarrassing others in public. Fifth, learn to tolerate unpredictability and accept that leadership means different things in different countries. Sixth, most importantly, leave stereotypes behind and be culturally sensitive. These principles remind us that global management is not only about economics and politics, it is deeply about people. Now, let's look at the major forces that shape international business. This can be grouped into three categories: socio-cultural, legal-political, and economic. The socio-cultural environment includes values, beliefs, language, religion, kinship patterns, education, and time orientation. For example, holidays in one country may be normal workdays in another. The legal political environment involves political risk, government policies, laws, restrictions, tariffs, and even threats such as terrorism or instability. The economic environment covers the level of development, resources and product markets, infrastructures, per capita income, exchange rates, and economic conditions such as inflation or interest rates. Each of these factors can greatly affect how a business performs globally. To understand global management, we must also look at international trade agreements and alliances. First, there is the General Agreement on Tariff with Trade, or GATT, which started in 1947 with 23 nations. Its aim was to ensure fair trade, reduce tariffs, and allow less developed countries to participate. Today, GATT has evolved into the World Trade Organization. And second, the European Union, or EU, formed in 1958, which its mission was to improve economic with social conditions. One of its biggest achievements is the introduction of euro, which replaced many nation currencies. Third, the North America Free Trade Agreement, or NAFTA, which took effect in 1994. It's connected the United States, Canada, and Mexico, creating a market of over 360 million consumers. NAFTA broke down trade barriers on agriculture and manufactured goods. These alliances raise questions for the future. Will trade blocs create cooperation or conflicts? Will companies bypass national restriction entirely? Well, only time will tell. We also need to pay special attention to culture. Culture influences how people think, behave, and conduct business. It shapes knowledge, values, communication, and even attitude. Toward time, Gard Hofstede identified several dimensions of culture: power distance, or how people view authority; uncertainty avoidance, or how societies handle risk; individualism versus collectivism; masculinity versus femininity; and finally, long-term versus short-term orientation. Beyond as mentioned, managers must also understand language, religion, education, and social organization. For example, in Japan, silence in meetings may show respect, while in Western cultures, silence can feel uncomfortable. So, how do companies actually enter international markets? There are several strategies. Exporting, the simplest and least costly method. Licensing and franchising, where foreign partners use a company's brand or processes. Joint ventures, which allow companies to partner with local firms. Acquisition, where a company purchases an existing business in another country. And greenfield ventures, where companies build new operators from scratch in foreign markets. Each method carries different levels of ownership, cost, and risk. Finally, let's discuss about the human side of managing globally. When working across cultures, managers must be sensitive to differences in leadership styles, decision-making, motivation, and control. They must be flexible and adaptable. Ethnocentrism, the belief that one's culture is superior, that can destroy relationships. Instead, managers should strive for cultural empathy. It's also important to recognize culture shock. When managers work abroad, they may feel frustration or anxiety due to cultural differences. The key is preparation, openness, and patience. And to wrap up, managing in a global business environment requires more than just financial knowledge. It requires cultural awareness, respect for differences, and adaptability to changing political and economic conditions. Globalization is not a trend that will disappear. It's the reality of our world today. The companies and managers who succeed will be those who can think globally. act responsibly, and lead across cultures. Thank you for your attention.